So as Eric mentioned, I have been traveling a lot. I was in Maker Faire Bay Area and Maker Faire Rome and now Shenzhen all in the span of a month. And specifically in the past 2 days, I spent my entire time on airplanes and I've got about 6 hours of sleep since Tuesday. So hopefully I'm coherent and making sense. But my name is David. I'm the community editor at Maker Magazine. And I live in the US, in the Detroit area, but I'm originally from the UK, like Evan, so I grew up on the same computers that are mentioned in that book. I've been in tech for pretty much all my life, and I really fell in love with writing code that you can touch when I got my first Arduino in 2007. I've been a big participant in and advocate for the Maker community pretty much since then. And so today I'm going to be talking about making makers, the importance of community, and the next generation of the maker movement. Let me see if I can figure out how this button thing works. Oh, I know this is a Maker Faire, but I'm often surprised to learn that folks aren't aware of everything that Make does as a company. So I'd like to take a step back and give you a little recap. So Make has been at the vanguard of the worldwide maker movement through the publication of Make Magazine and Make books for over 18 years, as well as through a global network of Maker Fairs. So if you didn't know, we are the company that licenses worldwide events like the one that you're attending right now. Make has two goals: to increase the number of people who are exposed to making and become makers, and to share the wide variety of projects that makers create and show their contribution to society. We believe it's essential that more youth can access the tools, materials, concepts, support to grow as makers through formal and informal learning technology opportunities in their local communities. Great example of that is Maker Faire events like the one we're at today. Making empowers people to solve real-world problems, develop their own voices and skills, and creates a workforce ready for the 21st century. So as Evan said, we've got people who started out making with Raspberry Pis and are now working in the workforce on Raspberry Pis today. So as I mentioned, I'm the community editor at Make Magazine. I don't know how easy it is to get this magazine in China. From what I understand, it's pretty difficult. Maybe you've never seen this, but I'm sure you've seen, Make as a brand in general. Make is the leading publication devoted entirely to do-it-yourself or DIY technologies. We inspire, inform, unite, and entertain a growing community of resourceful people who undertake amazing projects in their bedrooms, basements, or backyards. Make celebrates your right to repair, tweak, hack, and bend any technology to your will. Hopefully everyone's had a little taste of what Maker Faire is bringing from the event today, even if this is your first time attending. But just to give you an idea of the way we think about it, we call Maker Faire the greatest show and tell on earth. It's a showcase of invention, creativity, and resourcefulness for all ages, and a celebration of the maker movement. It's a place where the maker community can show what they're making and share what they're learning. Makers range from tech enthusiasts to crafters to homesteaders to scientists to garage tinkerers. They're of all ages and backgrounds. The aim of Maker Faire is to entertain, inform, connect, and grow this community. So hopefully while you're out there today, these are the things that you'll be experiencing and learning and sharing. So obviously Make didn't invent the concept of DIY. So let's take a broader look at the historical context of DIY. People have been innovating and tinkering and creating since the start of time. The picture on the left there is a Greek analog computer called the Antikythera, which is over 2,000 years old. So it's not like people weren't doing cool stuff before there was a magazine to tell people about. O'Reilly Media co-founder Dale Doherty observed an exciting new wave of ingenuity in the wake of the dot-com crash in the early 2000s and launched Make Magazine to spearhead and formalize the versioning maker movement. So that was in 2005, and now in 2023, my daughters, who are 5 and 14, they learn Scratch and Python in elementary school, and there's TV shows about making, like Making It and Making Fun, that you can just, making is kind of a penetrated mainstream culture. So I think that we're all born curious and with the desire to make things, and that we see in our mind reality, and that we are all makers. So as I mentioned, the first magazine was in 2005, and that cover featured things like dozens of hacks and how-tos for your gear, and how to do aerial photography with a kite, and XM radio and iPod hacks. Remember the iPod? And my favorite, blogging made simple. These are kind of things that we all take for granted now, I would say. The latest issue, volume 87, features Evan's Raspberry Pi 5, who we just talked to. It's a $65 desktop class computer. And it also features projects using artificial intelligence and even how to create your own custom silicon chips. With such great access to information and advanced resources, anything feels possible today. So I mentioned, in addition to the magazine, we also host and license Maker Fairs. The original Maker Faire was held in San Mateo in 2006, and we had about 18,000 attendees. In 2019, you saw that graph that Eric showed with the kind of hype curve there. We had our 14th annual show with 900 makers and 90,000 people in attendance. And then we had a pandemic and didn't have an event for a couple of years. But in 2023, we came back with a new kind of event at Mare Island, just a little outside of the kind of heart of the Bay Area. And we reestablished a focus on the original roots of making with 28,000 participants over 2 weekends. So as I mentioned, I just got back from Maker Faire Bay Area a couple weeks ago. And it felt like a resounding success based on all the feedback I heard from participants. I just kind of wanted to give you a taste of that event. So at the top there is Adam Savage giving his Sunday sermon, and a variety of hands-on activities that you can see makers of all ages enjoy. Some scenes from the dark room. We had a fashion show, who I think Make Fashion is also going to be here this weekend. And we featured some of the winners from Kitty Young's Tech Fashion Hackster Contest. So you can see some of the fashion from that in the shots here. So it was really great to see makers with different interests connecting across silos. People who were very excited about one area discovering that they were excited about another area. Like there's these old-fashioned steam engines down here, and Lego up here, and textiles, and maybe someone's into microcontrollers, but they didn't realize that they might also be excited about old combustion engines. So it was really cool seeing people who are really excited about one topic under the umbrella of making kind of connect with other people and realize that there was a larger community that they're all part of. We had some unique, large-scale, inspiring projects that spawned new makers as they realized that creating these types of spectacles was within their reach. So we had a lot of the sort of Burning Man style things that you can see here in what was called the Foundry area. So we've got these giant things that get people really excited, and then they talk to the people who make them and realize maybe they could make them too. So that was Maker Faire Bay Area, but there are Maker Faire events all around the world, such as this one. So we license these events to places like Shenzhen, Rome, Tokyo, and in addition to that, there are many local, smaller, independently organized community Maker Fairs. We're on track for over 100 Maker Fairs this year, which is a big resurgence after the pandemic made it so that we couldn't do many events. And we view this as a chance to create more awareness and excitement around the maker movement. So beyond events like Maker Faire, which only usually happen once a year, local makerspaces continue to provide a safe space for experimentation and collaboration. And I'm not sure what tools you're able to access over here, but in the US, I use platforms like Mastodon, Discord, discussion forums, social coding sites like GitHub, and all of these facilitate collaboration and the exchange of knowledge outside of in-person physical events. And more importantly, they let people connect from all over the world so that they can exchange ideas and insights and share enthusiasm no matter where they are. So some of the ways that I've seen people sharing knowledge in 2023 are obviously through Make Magazine. I'm a bit biased. In the top left there, the project called the Picoscope is RP2040 based project, another one of Evan's successes. It was just somebody who reached out to us at the magazine, to the editors, and said, hey, I made this cool thing, can I write about it? And we're like, sure. And it's really cool when stuff like that happens. A lot of the time we work with existing content creators and things like that and have ongoing relationships with them. But this guy's just like, I want to be in the magazine, can I? And we said yes. And he sent us this project, and it was really great. Deeper topics often make more sense as books. So we continue to publish titles on subjects like calculus, geometry, electronics, genetic engineering, rocketry, artificial intelligence, and more. And we have our own projects site, but we also have friends like Hackster and Instructables that provide a great way to share your projects. There's a Hackster project there from actually a collaborative contest that we did with Ginger and Kitty about the fashion tech that I mentioned earlier. Oh look, there's Raspberry Pi. 3D printing repositories and social coding sites like GitHub help get important assets like models and code in other people's hands and foster collaboration. So I wanted to share an example of how the combination of all the ideas that I've mentioned has come together in a real, tangible, successful project. I'm a big fan of the Pebble smartwatch. I'm wearing one today. So in 2016, when Pebble announced they were closing, a group of fellow developers and I put together a project to reverse engineer and replace the original infrastructure. You might not think, you think it's a watch. So why do I, what does it need? But there's actually a lot of back-end functionality. There's the App Store, there's dictation functionality, there's weather, and all of that requires back-end services. So we started working under the name Rebel just 2 days after Pebble Technology Corp folded. 10 days after Pebble went out of business, we had replacement apps underway because we didn't have any of the original source code, obviously. A new App Store front end, largely completed, and over 100 contributions to our reverse engineering documentation wiki. The following year, we launched our replacement infrastructure, Rebel Web Services, and charged people $3 a month for dictation and weather add-on services, so that we could provide the service free to most users. Tens of thousands of paying customers and hundreds of thousands of users endorsed our vision. This effort to keep a beloved piece of hardware alive has now been going for longer than the original company, Pebble Technology, and we're in the process of forming a nonprofit organization in order to sponsor more hackathons and mentoring opportunities with the revenue we continue to collect from weather and dictation subscribers. So I was lucky enough, I mentioned I've been going to all these Maker Fairs, and I was able to meet a couple of the other members of the Rebel team at those events recently. But until then, none of us have met each other. So most of our coordination and collaboration has been virtual, using Discord to communicate and GitHub to track projects and work on code together. In the documents required to form a nonprofit, we describe the environment that we've created and wish to extend as an open virtual makerspace, which for me encapsulates perfectly what we're striving to achieve, a space where anyone can join in to learn, share, and create amazing things. So, where are the makers? They're immersing themselves in the many vibrant communities that share their values and enthusiasm and help nourish and encourage their talents. Whether from projects in Make Magazine or sites like Hackster, or gatherings like Maker Faire, or at local makerspaces, or online with tools like Discord and GitHub, makers are helping other makers to build the skills to realize their unique vision together as a community. Any questions? There's my email address and my GitHub and Mastodon if you're able to access that. If you have any questions outside of this, I'll be here all weekend. Come and find me. But if you have any questions right now, we can do that.
Hi, my name is Billy. So I'm a maker. I do software, I do hardware development, including like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, and also do 3D printer. And quite often, um, me and my friends, just like what you say, we are love making things and be creative. And we have many ideas, like I don't know, like sometimes we play self-driver car project, and then we know how to improve it, and even we come up idea how it might be turn into a solution for industry or whatever. But quite often we feel exciting about our idea first, but it turned out I already have a mature product already there, and then we feel disappointed. Quite often it's like that, and because eventually we do want to like turn our maker project into some sort of commercial product to make money, right? So this is the problem we have right now: how to like turn our project from 0 to 1. Anyway, just my impression. I'm sure many maker has such a
that's great.
problem. So I'm just want to hear what is your opinion on this point.
Well, so if you look on my LinkedIn profile, my title that I give myself is enthusiast, because I'm just excited about stuff. So chances are, like, if you've done, no matter what you're doing, like I spent, before I was at Make, I spent a decade as CTO of tech startups. And when you're in the startup world, you're trying to create this new project, and you think it's like the greatest, newest thing or whatever, and then you find out someone else has got something similar. But you don't have to be the first one there. In fact, a lot of times it hurts to be the first one there. Pebble, their success was probably, their failure was probably because they were the first ones to succeed. If they wouldn't have been so successful, then Apple and Google and people like that wouldn't have noticed the smartwatch space, and they wouldn't have decided to enter it and extinguish Pebble. So for me, I just like doing that stuff for fun. I'm always like really excited to check out the latest technology, and maybe it's just some new microcontroller or some new chip architecture, and I get the LED to blink, and like that's exciting. It's not the first time anyone's got that LED to blink, but it was like meaningful to me, and it's exciting to me. So the thing that I would recommend is to kind of find the niche of what you're excited about and what some other people might be excited about. So this watch on my hand right now is from 2016. It's not getting any newer, it's just getting older. But it has unique features that no other watch has today, and that's why I keep wearing it. I really like the way the notifications work. I like the fact that the battery lasts for like 7 to 10 days, and I like that the screen is always on. And Apple, with all the money and resources in the world, can't create something that works as well for me as this. So I'd say find your niche and stick with it, and find other people in your niche and just build something for that audience, and don't worry about the big guys and the people that got there first, because whatever you're excited about is what's going to kind of drive you to keep going. So find your passion and follow it.
Well, true. Quite often we have to like seriously love it to do.
You have to
continue.
Yeah.
But for example, like watch. This is also the project. Quite often we also play around with. But the problem is we spend so much time on, I don't know, like doing all kind of feature to the watch, and then it come out, the commercial, the market out there already have, I don't know, like Xiaomi. Quite often have great product, and they're cheap, and quite often like, why we spend so much time on doing this kind of fun feature? That's already a
so you're never going to compete. Companies who are doing this stuff at large scale with millions of customers, you're never going to be able to compete with them. But there are plenty of successful smartwatches right now that cost more, do less, and they found their niche. So there's like Watchy, which is the open source e-paper smartwatch. They've sold tons of those things because their audience isn't a person with an Apple phone that just wants to go swimming. It's not waterproof. It can't do any of that stuff. But what you can do is you can easily write apps to it and like play with it and like 3D print your own new case for it and stuff like that. So for that audience of people who are interested in that part of it, just like the pedal, if you find those people with that different niche that aren't just the mainstream consumers, then you can actually build a project where you can charge more for it for something that does less, because you found people who are passionate about that stuff, rather than these big brands are only trying to appeal to the large audience, the large commercial audience. So they don't have the same focus in some of those little niche areas that you might be able to capitalize on. And there's like at least a dozen of those watches right now that are successfully selling something with a lot less functionality for a lot more. And hopefully Pebble will get into that. Hopefully Rebel will get into that soon as well. We have prototypes that we've developed and things like that.
Okay, I think we will just have one last question here.
Thank you. Just a simple question. How did you see the best facility and space and like that to support the maker for younger generation in society?
Yeah, I think the best facility is the one that's near you. There's plenty of so where I live in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and there's 2 maker spaces there. The one I'm on the board of directors for, and it is a nonprofit organization, just a bunch of people who are really excited about doing stuff. So we just have whatever stuff we get donated. We don't have a big budget. We just have a place, a bunch of excited people, and a bunch of kind of like, mid-level hardware, nothing fancy, just the donations we get and the little money that we get from memberships and stuff like that. On the other side of town, there is a for-profit commercial makerspace, and they have all the fanciest equipment, all the most expensive CNC machinery and things like that. And so they were like our main competitors. But a couple of years ago, they actually became a nonprofit just like us, because their commercial version was not working. People weren't interested in paying a bunch of money. People were using them occasionally and paying a lot, but they didn't have that same people coming back because of the passion. The passion was missing. And so 2 or 3 years ago, that place turned into a nonprofit, the same as our makerspace. So I really think, don't worry about the hardware, don't worry about the, is it fancy, is it got all the stuff? The most important thing is that you have a bunch of passionate people, and so the best makerspace is the place where you find those people.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, David.